Greetings, dear viewers. I'm happy to see everyone here today. We will diving deeper into the topic which were discussed at the International Online Conference Global Crisis Time for the Truth, which took place on December 4th, 2021. This unique event was organized by volunteers from 180 countries with simultaneous interpretation into 100 languages, by people who truly understand the critical situation on our planet and crucial need of sharing this information with everyone on the planet. We continue to receive an overwhelming amount of comments, words of support, and questions from people around the world who also understand the severity of the climate crisis and disastrous environmental condition. Since December 4th, many devastating climatic catastrophes have occurred on the planet, and unfortunately, many people around the globe have lost their lives. It is crucial to understand right now the urgency of spreading the information about a creative society as quickly as possible with the greatest number of people, as this is our only way out of this situation.
And people around the globe continue to research on the global crisis we are facing. And we would like to announce that on May 7th, 2022, an international online forum, Global Crisis, We Are People, We Want to Live, will be streamed to thousands of channels with simultaneous interpretation into more than 100 languages. And we invite all honest and concerned people, eyewitnesses of climatic disasters, people who deal with human slavery, refugees, victims of human trafficking, to the international forum. We would like to invite scientists and experts to join us in telling the truth.
And I'm honored to introduce you to our guest today. Please welcome Servet Bitici, writer, poet, and translator from Albanian language. Welcome, Servet. And our next guest is Dr. Surinder Kumar, PhD in sociology from India. Dr. Kumar, we're so happy to have you here today with us. And our first question I would like to ask Servet. We know that you have participated in the preparation of the conference, Global Crisis Time for the Truth, helping with translation. Can you please tell us why this conference is important and what inspired you to join the team and act to make this global event available to the viewers who speak and understand Albanian language?
So I want to express my gratitude to take part on this roundtable about discussion about the last conference about the time of truth, which was held on 4th of December. The inspiration to take part in this is purely the humanity and the future for us, which lies ahead of every one of us. Everyone will be affected in such a case, and everyone should be gathered together. I think it's very important for us to understand the importance of this, what's happening now in the world. And that's the main inspiration for me. You know, if we have a close look to how the world is changing, is very, very scary. I can bring an example. When I was young and I used to go in the fields of my town and village, it was all greenery everywhere. Now that has changed. Now I'm the witness myself, which not the same species, the biological, I mean, not the same greenery we have now there is replaced, is deteriorating the situation everywhere. And we've seen the disasters in many different countries, fires, we've seen the burst of rivers, we've seen hurricanes in America, and we've seen other phenomena of life, which is the immigration and human trafficking is very, very concerning for everyone. And we, as pure people which have no power, I think most of us are volunteers and scientists which come from parts which we aren't decision makers, but it's time now to make the decision to save the future of us. I think this is a very, very high motive for everyone, and people have only to understand that and to feel motivated and inspired. That's what I think is
Thank you so
all
much
about it. Thank you.
This
And
is
I
very
wanted,
important.
and I wanted to say some people I know here in your platform, which are great people and friends, and which of course, they have their own part of it to inspire everyone, and that's very positive sign. Thank you.
Also, you just said one important thing, that it is time to become decision makers for everyone, because for many, many years we've been giving away the power, but it's upon us to make these decisions and to do decisions on how we want to live. And this is why this platform, our platform, it's not someone else's, it's people's platform where people can express their opinion. And as well, we are speaking about the real situation with the climate, with refugees, with the state of science, and in our society. And this is why also we are conducting these discussions, so that more and more people who know you also would like to watch and get to know the Creative Society project and join as you did yourself. So thank you also
absolutely.
for your participation.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
And another very important thing that you mentioned, that we really need to convey this information to every single person on Earth, because without knowing the problem, the depths of the problem, without the understanding the only one solution that we have, we as a humanity will not survive. The crisis is so deep, it's so dramatic right now. The only way for us is really to get together. But we can unite right now only on the platform of Creative Society. Thank you so much for your time, for your help in this project. We really, really appreciate it.
You are more than welcome. It's my pleasure.
And we would also like to ask Dr. Kumar to share his impressions about the conference, and which information was new to you, and what impressed you the most.
See, my experience has been really very awesome, outstanding about this conference. And as per what I've learned, like 180 countries participating, and it's being translated in 100 languages. It is really awesome. As I discussed in one of my recent discussion with Creative Society, I'm of the opinion that such kind of activities and possibilities are needed when a global change or a collective change has to happen, and it is desired, because there are different minds coming together, different people coming together, different intentions and energies will flow together. And also at the same time, different mental resources, it gives a common platform for different mental resources to operate themselves. So it becomes really a wonderful possibility. And while looking at climate change and global change, and also there are so many triggers attached to it, connected with it, because of that, such as like man-made disasters, natural disasters, they may also trigger movement of people in terms of migration and all those things. And they sort of propel human trafficking and different possibilities, violation of human rights keep happening. So what I personally feel and my personal observation about this Creative Society, this attempt coming together, whereas different resources coming together, and people also, their perceptions, and overall it's like a resource being pulled up on one particular platform. So I personally say such kind of activities and operations and mindsets have to happen more and more, so that a collective change can be caused in a society. And this is just wonderful because together we can definitely do so many things, and we can respond to any challenge, any disconnect, any problem that we face as a human society. And I highly appreciate this attempt of creative society to come together, like 180 countries participating and different languages being translated, one particular event, and which is like a meaningful and a purposeful event. How to handle climate change, how to handle this global threat which is going on. And I also picked up a very good understanding that many of us are not aware of this. Like this is like even we can be impacted by it. So that section is also there, those who are totally oblivious and unaware about it. So they also have to be made aware about such kind of traumas and threats which are there as existing, but they are not taking them as existential realities or possibilities. They are just for them psychological possibilities or realities. But overall, what I want to say, yes, this attempt of creative society has been wonderful. My learning has been really great. And I highly appreciate, and I'm looking forward to participate in all possible dimensions and in all possible ways in the times to come with creative society, what all projects they have and possibilities they have and activities they have. Like last conference, I was also there participating, and I also was a part of translation. So it was a wonderful experience, a good experience for me. So in future events also, I'll be participating in all with all my resources, what all I have and what all I can do in the times to come. So this is what I would like to say.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Kumar. And it is very important that more and more people participate. We also would like to thank you for your personal participation, and because it is wonderful to see that people who get to know this project and the information, and they cannot remain silent. They understand that remaining ignorant will not solve any problems, and this is why it is important to spread this information. So as you and did as well, so you participate and you continue, and even right now you are participating in this project and spreading the information. And you touched also upon a very important topic of refugees and human trafficking. And as you know, during the conference, the video, which actually turned into a mini documentary, was aired for the first time on December 4th. And it was talking about the fate of refugees and all the atrocities that they're going through. So this truth revealed to such a large audience for the first time was so brutal that YouTube even warned sensitive viewers about it. So we will not be showing this video in its entirety today, but we will run a short version now, and we'll continue our discussions after this.
Why is there such inhuman treatment of people? I was thinking about it and decided to figure it out.
You will never spend a month without being attacked with a xenophobic attack, because they say as a foreigners we are stealing their work. I've lost that hope of being in the great society. I don't know, I've lost that hope, because seeing the way that people are being killed, seeing the way that people are being shot in my eyes.
A child can be sold many times. I remember one day I came across the story of a girl who was, she was Turkish. She had been sold 17 times, and she had been trafficked from one country to another 17 times, and she had experienced only rape.
I also sat in many auctions as a customer, as an undercover when I was doing the undercover. We were sitting for the auctions, 9-year-old girl, 10-year-old girl, as per the demands. So the trade called the first time sex. Whenever the auctions will happen, new girls arrive in the trade. So they put the auctions. So who will bid the last demand, the money? That person only will use that became full night for his choice.
The business that is made of spare parts, the human spare parts. How many children have been transferred from one place to another and then being operated on for some rich guys in different parts of the world to get a kidney or get something else from their bodies against their will.
Black markets, traffickers, mafia is part of this economy that is ruling the world. So what else I can say? That I only see that the other possibility is to spend money instead of constructing walls like we are doing in Europe.
In our society, human life has no value. How is it possible that instead of help, people encounter violence, aggression, abuse, and slavery? This is not a migration crisis, but this is a crisis of humaneness.
People, by looking at the existing legal frame, will not ever be entitled asking for protection. Because you will ask them which country you're coming from, they will say there is no country. I had a country called X, but the country now is underwater. Or I had a village and this village is being totally destroyed or disappearing.
It turns out that there are still no effective programs for the resettlement of refugees. For so many years, the United Nations has been working. For so many years, the Refugee Rights Commission has been working. So many humanitarian organizations and NGOs around the world have been working, but there are no working, established or adopted programs on how to work with these refugees. There are none, and the Refugee Commission itself admits this.
Now refugees are forced to leave their homes. They face condemnation and cruelty. They are left alone with their misfortune because of the consumerist format of society. Tomorrow's climate catastrophes could be upon us as well. Answer yourself honestly. Are you ready to face what refugees face? Are you sure you won't be in their shoes? That you and your loved ones won't have to go through what they're going through.
This video is shocking, and it's very, very hard to watch it and understand that we human doing this with our own hands, and we human supporting this with our inaction. And I would like to ask Dr. Kumar to share his opinion on this issue raised in this video. Dr. Kumar, the floor is yours.
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes.
No, thanks. Yeah, it's really striking to see such videos. They are really informative, not just informative, but they are eye-opening because they deal with the very human dimension of our society. And it's pathetic and painful to see human trafficking. But my personal understanding, as long as we keep hearing about them on newspapers, news journals, research papers, and articles on videos and pictorial possibilities, we exactly cannot figure out the pain which is there inside trafficking when a person is being trafficked. Because as a scholar, as an academician, or as a researcher, if I just want to understand this phenomena or a social pathology or problem, of course, to an extent, I can figure out and also comprehend for myself and for others. But as like I also just learned in this video, putting yourself in their shoes, that becomes very difficult. So my context, like Indian context, if I want to look, just number of cases being registered, and they're also running court of law. So the sad part is the conviction rate for traffickers is still very slow here in India. The reason talking about the National Crime Bureau. And when it comes to trafficking, as a researcher, of course, a person has to put himself or herself in their shoes. But to an extent, it becomes very difficult because of the typology of human trafficking also. Because there is a difference between what is happening theoretically and what is their empirical, the practical dimension of human trafficking. Because let me just bring out and share with you, we say like people are being trafficked mainly for sexual exploitation. Then we have people are also being trafficked for labor purposes, cheap labor exploitation. Then medical purposes there, and then a sport purposes also there, entertainment purposes there, soldiering purposes also there. This is this is the classification, which is more of a traditional and historical classification, but not exhaustive one, because traffickers, they have a tendency to change their trafficking possibilities strategies by looking at how the society or the legal mechanism is trying to combat, to pacify their trafficking. So that is also there. But I was reading in my research one of the report of International Labor Organization is like more people are being trafficked for cheap labor purposes than sex purposes. That is also there, this research, which is published by International Labor Organization in 2005. But in that situation, what we need to understand, there is always a difference between what is there on paper in terms of in the version of, let's say, research paper, research articles, documentation, documentaries and videos and some other things that people figure out in their research that is there. But what's happening on ground is altogether, sometimes there is a big difference in that. So it is, for me, what I figure out, even in your video, which you've just shown, there's a lot of things when interacting and physically coming across or knowing somebody who is trafficked or who was once trafficked. It is painful situation and very sensitive at the same time, because my personal experience, because to be very frank, I've met only a few people who were trafficked once, now have been mainstreamed by the grace of God or by the good deeds of legal mechanism or the society. And also those who were trafficked a little, I don't know exactly, but yes, of course, I've come across some good number of people who were trafficked once, and I was able to hear their story, their pain and everything. They're, in my context, what has been my research, my exploration is like there is a concept known as secondary victimization. They are victimized at every stage of trafficking, but once they are mainstreamed or before they are mainstreamed, a secondary victimization also happens to them, which painfully happens by those who were supposed to protect them, such as like legal agencies, legal people, and police persons. So this secondary victimization happens to them by those authorities who are supposed to protect them, who are supposed to raise their voices and look after them, should have, cause them listening. So that is also one experience I just wanted to share. Thanks a lot. I've made, I think, some comments.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kumar. Thank you so much for your comments and extending this topic. It's very difficult to understand that in our society we have demand for human trafficking. And this problem is very, very deep. And in order to fix it, we really need to fix the fundament of our society, the foundation. And without that, doesn't matter how we will strengthen our law and how we increase the number of law enforcement, we will not fix it. The human trafficker will find the way how to find their victims because of the demand. But we people, we need to find the way. We need to really get together. This problem is global. You can see it in every single country in the world. but only together we can fix it by changing the format.
Yeah. Another thing. Can I say a point here?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. One of the data of National Human Rights Commission here says like 82.5% people, those people, these are those people who are traffickers. They make their categorical comments like they traffic people on the ground of demand. If there is demand, so this influences how trafficking will happen. So most of the people who are trafficked for sexual purposes, such as women and children, they are being trafficked on the ground of the demand which is there. So this has been actually committed by the traffickers. So I just wanted to share it. As you mentioned, like there is a demand of trafficking. Yes, of course, I firmly and categorically agree that this is a demand-driven industry, which is like eye-opening from a social perspective, from a social point of view.
Absolutely, absolutely. And very difficult to understand also that format in which we live support violence. So this format cannot survive without violence, without forced labor, without slavery. And we will not be able to find the solution just like acting in a frame of consumer format. If we would like to find that, we need to change the system of coordinate. We need to change the format and change the format where the human life will stay on the first place. That will bring everything to the normal.
Yes, because, of course, there is demand, but also, as we can see with many, many things in our society, everything that we are fighting against just persists. So we understand that there is no real desire by the institutions which are responsible for fighting like the crime or the drugs or the human trafficking or the climate change. A lot of money is spent on all these issues, and yet after many decades we still don't have solutions, because we also can understand that in the consumer format of society, what is happening is that these organizations also protect, like they are doing just job protection, because if they solve the problem, they will have nothing to do. And in our format of society, they will have nothing to eat. So this is also, it's a snake that bites its tail. And we really need to change the format of society where human life is the highest value. And even if we think about anything that we've just said previously, just taking into account this one thing, human life is the highest value, everything changes. I mean, the whole perspective of how we organize the society and the actions where we dedicate resources, our human potential will change the outcome as well. So would you like to chime in also on this topic and maybe add your opinion?
Absolutely. Yeah. I absolutely agree with three of you. And your views are very useful, very good, very to the point. And I absolutely think that is not simply to the traffickers or to the group of people or organization which is support them, and they got profits. Definitely they got big profit on all this movement around the globe. But the system, as you say, you Marina and you Alexei, you are pointed that the system is the root of this. If the system works, no traffickers can find ground to do this. And I can bring an example. In East Europe countries, which they were claiming to impose the capitalism didn't come by the rules is imposed in the West. Capitalism played in the West and developed countries, and we've seen it's been successful for some time, I say. And to that point, when the system changed in East Europe, we have seen a tragic experience. The economy failing, the industry and agriculture, both of them. So creating a big vacuum. And I'm sure some of the factories, some of mines, some of the fields of cornfields, for example, huge cornfields and sunflower fields, they were just abandoned. No will, some people to take responsibility and employ people. They found the easiest way, just close them down, threw people on the road, and the people come subject of the trafficking. So this is a very, very coming straight from the system, the system's fault. And then people come as a subject, which they want to survive, they want to profit from the demand, as Mr. Kumar was pointing, that they are claiming that we are helping people on demand, those traffickers, but they are the second, I think, in the scene. The scene is the system, which got to do with the humanity. People should take responsibility, should be more aware. That's what I think 30 years of experience, which is this disaster has intensified dramatically, are enough for people to understand. But unfortunately, people are so divided now. And the only point, the most sensitive point, is this disasters and immigration, which is affecting everyone, actually. If you go to a country, which you pointed earlier, that now used to be your country and now has disappeared, so everyone is being affected sooner or later. So that people should act in the same voice and same mentality and same unity. Is this difficult? Is terribly, terribly difficult to manage, to bring people together because of the experience of division. And what I find worry is a bit of panic in between people and alarm of timing, you know. We and in the same time we have to I think it's very important to get the news, to get people to understand what's the difference in between consumers society we are living now and creative society which we are trying to invent based in humanity, in goodwill and trust. That's how I say. I was one of those people to which my life changed from because of those circumstances. You see, I had my own position there, working and blah blah, and suddenly the roof of the house did fall down, and whoever can get out of the house, that's how it is, or the boat sinking, is the same situation. Some people want just to leave the country because of and we've seen because of the wars, because of the lack of work, and because of being forced, you know. When there is a confusion and there is trouble in a country, then those people can have free hands, and they find ground to penetrate and do this kind of thing. But as I'm saying, the system, that's important. System should be changed.
Yes. Thank you, Sarah. You wanted to add something?
No, I just wanted to pass my word to you now, and we continue.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. You know, you mentioned the one thing is that division, and it is important for us to understand that the division is just in our heads, and it was mostly imposed by centuries of, let's say, propaganda. And this is why the Creative Society project actually started by questioning people from all around the world for more than 10 years. And we were asking people, describe the world where you and your loved ones would like to live in. And everyone was telling basically the same things all around the globe. And from their responses, statistically, were derived the 8 foundations of the creative society, which everyone can check on the website, creativesociety.com. Just go there and click on the 8 foundations. So, of course, we might think that different countries, different cultures, everything different, but people want the same things, just having enough to eat, having a home to live in, and peaceful skies. This is what it is. And,
absolutely.
And thank you so much for summarizing and doing the conclusion about our true enemy, because also what consumer format does is not only to divide, and it also make us fight with each other.
Yes.
But we need to understand that we only have one true enemy, and
that's the main thing. That's very important to understand that. Some people don't understand. They just carry the passion, and because this situation got a huge load of emotion, and in the times of desperation, it's very easy for people to fall the victims of their own lack of information. So they are disinformed, they are biased, and they are just treated as subjects, which is not right.
Yes, truthful information, plays a key role in the decision of every human. That's why we need to do everything possible in order to convey this information to every single person. Without that, we will not survive, that's for sure. So, and we'll see what kind of process is happening in our society right now on the geopolitical arena, and of course the climatic disasters increasing every single day. Every single day we're losing people's life, and that's terrible to observe and not paying attention to that. And why we don't pay attention? Because we don't understand the concept. We don't understand the true reason. And if we would know that climate will escalate every day, and millions will migrate from one hemisphere to another, from one continent to another, and we would do something, we would act today, because it's a time to act. Tomorrow it will be too late. But what happened in our society? Disinformation. We don't know, we don't understand the true reason, and we're fighting the wrong enemy, and we're doing the wrong steps, not towards surviving, but towards losing time, losing resources. But again, on December 4th, many scientists united on this unique platform in order to share the truthful information about the real cause of climate change. And right now, it's upon us people to make everything possible in order to share this information that every single person will understand and act accordingly. And we touched a very painful topic for me, for every single person. And we all would like to hear the solution. And thank you so much, Servat. You mentioned that definitely solution is a changing format. And I would like to ask the question, Dr. Kumar, the main problem, as we understand, is a consumer format. And the solution out of this crisis is to get out of this format. What do you think? What will the creative society give us? And how can the idea of the creative society with its 8 pillars, 8 foundations that protect human life, guarantee human rights, how can this transform society to get out of this global crisis?
Yes, this is really a good question. And the one thing I understand during this discussion is like there's a constant, incessant battle which is going on between consumer format or social format. Whereas like consumer format, we already understand how it is being offered, how it is being run in our society in order to destroy it, in order to exploit it. But whereas on contrary, we do have good gatherings, good collectivity and solidarity, which is like a typical manifestation is creative society, I'm saying. Of course, which is creative society, I can say, is an antithetical possibility or mechanism for consumer format. Of course, consumer format is like, which is very much, which is focused on exploitation, how to exploit people, how deep they can be exploited, how much exploitation can happen. So that we need to understand how it is happening and running in our society. Whereas like, again, talking in human trafficking context, it is like, if I see the definition, there are few components, which is even I've mentioned in my research and everybody knows about it. It's quite common and widely spread. The first is you have recruitment in human trafficking, then you have transportation, then you have transfer of people, then harboring of people, then receipt of people. But there is one thing common in these stages is the exploitation. In recruitment also exploitation happens. In transportation, exploitation happens of people who are being trafficked or who are actually and physically trafficked. And then transfer also, there being exploitation happens. Harboring also, exploitation happens. And then finding a receipt of a person who is being trafficked, exploitation happens. Even the UN definition and the UN mechanism for anti-human trafficking or human trafficking, this word exploitation is something which is of common. It is very much focused there, which like India is also a signatory to this protocol. So in consumer format, every intention, every pull and pressure is to cause exploitation of human society, and each and every individual in this format is to be exploited. That is what their agenda, I would say business agenda, or their mindset, their purpose, their objective is. This is what they're trying to do. Whereas like when it comes to creative society, it is like offering us more of a socialism pattern, a format where life can be nurtured, where life can be respected, where a dignity can be attached to a human life. So this is what I figure out in creative society. And coming together, creative society is a wonderful platform, as per my understanding, because different minds coming together, transportation of resources, mental faculties, physical faculties, and your intellectual faculties are also happening. And different issues are being discussed, such as climate change, slavery, human trafficking, human rights violations, and many other topics. So these topics have to be addressed in present scenario in current society in order to make it more sociable, in order to make it more like where social interactions can happen, where life can be addressed in a very proper way, in a very comprehensive way. Because just living as human beings will not, we just cannot say that, of course, we live like a human being. There has to be, at the same time, dignity, there has to be provisions, there has to be respect, there has to be all possible dimensions to be covered for a human being to live as a human being. And when it comes to creative society, what it is doing and what it is trying to do in the times to come, of course, that social dimension is being trying to cover the entire gamut. I think the attempt is to reach the entire gamut of that human dimension, to make it more wonderful, to make it more fruitful, to make it more better for each and every possible human being on this globe, on this planet, in this human society, and how it is happening. Because the society, creative society, is trying to discuss important topics such as climate change, disasters, natural disasters, man-made disasters, and many other topics such as as I've already mentioned, human rights violations and anti-human trafficking. These are very important topics. They have to be discussed, and concerns have to be addressed. And data which is quantitative and qualitative data, which rest of the people and rest of the societies, their sections, they try to hide because of their dubious and sinister political intentions and agendas or social intentions or business-oriented intentions at the back of it. They try to hide those quantitative and qualitative data. But the society, I see in their videos, I see in many of your documentaries and your discussions that you try to bring those data out, you make them public so that people can make themselves aware, they can sensitize themselves and others also. And by sensitizing themselves and others, what will happen? There is going to be a shift, which is very much imperative, which has to happen. Because I strongly very much believe there's a stage of, a state of mind, which is like psychological stage, and then there is something which is actually a practical stage. Some people believe that human trafficking, slavery, violation, and climate change, natural disasters, man-made disasters will never happen to us. They believe it very strongly. They don't want to aware themselves. They don't want to sort of think about it. They think, it is next door problem. It's not my personal problem. It's not our society's problem, because we are better. We are beefed up. We are sort of, we have better mechanisms to combat, to respond against such kind of possibilities. But this is actually what I say. This is their psychological reality, that they're actually just thinking in their mind. This is having existential. It is not for the existential reality, just a psychological reality. But it takes only snap of a finger for them, because existential reality from psychological reality. So that has to happen. People have to be sensitized about it, like such kind of issues like their violations, trafficking, global change, impact of global change, and migration, because of that movement of societies as whole can happen to any society, any human society across the globe. So there has to be a sensitization, and I firmly believe by discussing on international platforms, through conference, through panel discussions and research documentations, and by raising questions and concerns, and at the same time also leaking out quantitative and qualitative data to public, will definitely society in order to and important and crucial topics and issues. And if they start thinking about such issues and topics, such behavior will also change. This is going to be a different manifestation altogether, which is going to cause betterment, development, and amelioration in our society in order to think and address such kind of issues like we are talking today. So I certainly believe a forum like Creative Society and a possibility like Creative Society is very much needed, and it's imperative, indispensable for the betterment of this human society. Creative Society is very much important. It is needed because these discussions, and also not just discussions, but discussing such kind of relevant and scientific qualitative data and quantitative data will open our eyes, and at the same time will not just open our eyes in order to have some changes, but it can also bring a collective change, collective possibility in our society as a whole, because that's needed, because any change in our society can only be caused when there is collectivism. And Creative Society is trying to bring that collectivism, that collectivity in this as a whole very well. And it is doing a wonderful task, a wonderful work in that direction. And sooner or later, I'm sure that it'll have some wonderful results also, tremendous results, to cause good in our society and betterment in our society.
Thank you, Dr. Kumar. And all these discussions and forums, conferences, it's not just for the sake of talking and discussing together, but we are informing. The whole aim of this is to inform the population of this planet about the other way of living, the creative society. I mean, the Creative Society platform is where we unite, because we have these wonderful technologies that permit us to do it from around the globe, as we are doing right now. But the main goal is to really raise awareness of everyone and create a demand from the whole of society by first bringing the truth about the real state of affairs on this planet, and so that people understand that the consumer format of society divides us. And as you rightfully said, everyone thinks that the problems that are happening happen only to someone else. They will not happen to us. We have better systems to counteract disasters. But as reality really has proven us many times, and it's happening every day, no matter how the country is developed, there is nothing we can do to right now in this format of society to counteract the climatic changes. And this is why it is important that truth is spread around the world, and people can unite on the basis of this truth and human values, the values of the human life. So this is the main goal of the Creative Society, is to unite all people and build a society where human life will be the highest value. If you would like to add something, please chime in discussion.
I had no much to add, actually. Just if I can say my hope when Alexei says we are not just for talking here, we got the technology. That's what we want to hear. That is the best news everyone wants to hear, because we are not just for conversation here and just to have, but there is a real thing which supports us to change the format from consumer to creative society. And this is the hope and will and aim for us to be one day to see each other in a creative society, and as friends to each other, and as not as enemy, as a fake enemy, and missing the target. The target is the uncertainty. Our target is to clear the air and to bring people together. That's where we all unite and where all we stand and our friends. Thank you for this opportunity to express ourselves. It was really a pleasure to have this with you, Alexei and Marina, and Mr. Kumar. It's very good experience, I think. And now, Marina, is your turn, I think, because we're sorry, you're saying something and then you passed the say to me. Please.
I would like just to thank both of you for emphasizing once again the informational stage of building a creative society. It's very, very, very crucial right now in the moment, because our future, the future of our dear and near ones, depends on our action now. And once we know the truth about the danger hanging over us, the truth about humanity's real enemy, knowing the way out, the creative society, it's just simply impossible to just sit and not to act. We need to act in order to prevent that disaster. And I'm not exaggerating when I say that the fate of the whole humanity depends on the action of each of us. And we really need to share the information about the possibility of building creative society, because we human, we would like to live And using this opportunity, I would like to invite everyone to our next international forum, Global Crisis, We People, We Want to Live, that will happen on May 7th, 2022. And this event organized by volunteers from 180 countries and will simultaneously interpreted into 100 different languages on the Creative Society platform. Join us. Don't be silent. Tell the truth and share this video with everyone. Are you ready to protect people's life and our planet? Become a true hero. Share this information. Our destiny, our future depends on your action right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And dear speakers, we're so honored to have this opportunity to speak to you today. And we would like to say thank you for all of your words, for sharing with us your wisdom, your understanding, the importance of ACT right now. We truly believe that together we definitely can change this situation. As you said earlier, many times today, our strength in the unity. So let's unite. Let's build the better world for us and for our children.